right now to develop spiritually, emoja, which means unity, right? It's a pastor program here in the city of Paterson for over 30 years, okay? And these are our young people, our young leaders. Can you give them a hand, acknowledge them?
That's right.
Okay, here we go. The libation ceremony is done in praise and honor of the collective commitment to the work and struggles of the ancestors. It is both instructive and inspirational, as well as mandatory within the framework of our value system. For it is they, forefathers and foremothers, who through their love, labor, and struggle laid the foundation for us, pushed our lives and history forward, and gave us basic principles by which we could live our lives in strength, dignity, brotherhood, and sisterhood. Pouring libation and making a libation statement is both an honorific assertion and call to carry on the struggle and work the ancestors began. It is more clearly defined as a recognition and respect of the contribution of those before us, our history, and the models it offers us to emulate. To honor our ancestors is to honor the best you, for you are your ancestors, and therefore have a responsibility to be unified in the struggle for Black love, Black determination, and Black freedom. The Singwe Q, also known as Joseph Cinque, and the 53 Africans who revolted against the Spanish slave captors of Amistad Ship, also called Friendlies, in 1839, and eventually returned to Sierra Leone, East Africa. To all those who fought and preserved Juneteenth independence, June 19, 1865, also called Emancipation Day and Black Independence Day. To all those massacred May 31st, June 1st, 1921, in the Greenwood district of Tulsa, Oklahoma, and all those whose names go uncalled, but nevertheless deserve the honor and respect accorded to those names we will call and do call. We say Harambe.
Harambe.
At this time, today is going to step up and so is Tadaji. I'll take his flag. Tadaji will do the pouring. Today will do the reading. It's after Janaea reads the statement, right? Our hands go up. And when she finished reading the statement, after Tadaji pours, that's when you bring your Harambe down. Okay? Okay. All right.
Give her the mic.
Harambe. 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 Harambe.
And lastly, for our struggle and remembrance of those who have struggled on our behalf to live with us today and forever.
Harambe.
Harambe.
Harambe. Harambe. Harambe. Harambe. Harambe.
There's always one, right? That's gonna either do the extra one or do one before. They're so excited, right? It didn't even have to be last Saturday. Here's like, all right? So at this time, what happens is we take this time, as I stated earlier, to call on those whose names too often are not called, but we know have made a sacrifice so that we can continue that process called life. Please call those names, and I'm going to ask Tadaji to just drop into the water again, okay? So if it's okay with your family, I'm going to start with Mark Damon Smith. We say Harambe.
Harambe.
Keep calling the names. Just call them out.
Elijah Muhammad.
Harambe.
Fred Cohen.
Harambe.
Wallace D.
Harambe.
Marty Ball.
Harambe. Larry Doby.
Harriet Tubman.
Harambe.
Edna Mosley. Harambe.
Malcolm X.
Harambe.
Prophet Robinson.
Harambe.
Anthony Wilson.
Harambe.
Bishop Eddie.
Here.
Harambe. Rose McCall. Harambe.
Miss Jessie Dixon.
Harambe.
Ed Cotton.
Harambe.
Joe Clark.
Harambe. Emma King. Harambe.
Miss Van Rensselaer.
Harambe.
Reverend Albert B. Rowe.
Harambe.
Eddie Johnson.
Harambe.
Albertina Ritchie Smith.
Harambe.
My mother, Miss Stokes.
Harambe.
Amir Baraka.
Harambe.
Nasheed Marie Smallwood.
Harambe.
Stephen Devine Smallwood.
Harambe.
Ed Cotton.
Harambe. Catherine
Muhammad Ali.
West. Harambe.
Chadwick Boseman.
Harambe.
Eddie M. Johnson.
Harambe.
Tupac Shakur.
Harambe.
William Van Rensselaer.
Harambe.
John Klein.
Harambe.
Frank Napier.
Harambe.
Dr. Gerald Glisson.
Harambe.
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 Carney Bragg.
Harambe.
Right.
And to all those whose names were not called, but we know that in our heart,
Yes.
that without their sacrificing their work, we would not be here. So we say, Harambe! Asante Sana, that means thank you. It's so good to see the family out here, right? Dr. Dwayne Roberts is here, one of the founders of Bugs. We appreciate all of you for being here and honor you for everything that you do. May God continue to bless you. May we move forward with this program. Continue to be strong in who we are, honor this day, but also continue to struggle every day. Every day is how we honor our ancestors, by doing the work, not the talk. At this time, I'll ask the Honorable Mayor Sayal to come up.
Good morning, Paterson.
Good morning.
And happy Juneteenth. Feels good to say it, right? Let's celebrate it. We should all be encouraged that our Congress took the appropriate action, although it was long overdue. In the Senate, there were no objections to making Juneteenth a holiday. In the House, it was 415 to 14. I want to know who those 14 people are.
Right.
It should have been unanimous. Yes, Mrs. Smallwood has their names and addresses. But we're peaceful people, right? So on June 19th, 1865, you have General Gordon Granger arrives in Galveston, Texas, with Union troops to inform residents that were enslaved that they were no longer slaves. But that happened long before, because President Lincoln issued the Emancipation Proclamation on September 22nd, 1862. It becomes official on January 1st, 1863. So that was about 2 years later. And the Civil War actually ended 2 months prior to June 19th, 1865. And it ended April 9th, 1865 at the Appomattox Courthouse in Virginia when Lee surrendered to Grant. So as you can see, the recurring theme, this is long overdue.
Yes.
But it happened. It happened because of unity. And I'm so proud to say that Paterson, yesterday for the first time, and Della has it, we raised the Juneteenth flag. If you want to come forward and show everyone. So let's take a look, because we do respect the red, black, and green. But this flag, the representation is, the star is a burst of freedom. Blue represents a new horizon. And the red is for the blood that has been shed in the ongoing struggle for freedom from the Middle Passageway on. And so we respect our flag here with the Juneteenth and also the Pan-African flag. And we've been joined by my former colleague, thank you, Councilman Bill McCoy, the Dean, thank you for joining us. And I see Assemblyman Benji Wimberly, thank you for joining us as well. I want to thank everyone for being here today. Happy Independence Day, happy Jubilee Day, and let's say it loud and proud, happy Juneteenth Day. Thank you. Commissioner Everest, I saw you from Passaic. We have friends from Passaic. Very good. Thank you. Yes, Commissioner Roberts.
Stop killing us.
Okay. All right. We want to call forward our historian, who needs no introduction. One of the most knowledgeable people on the planet. And he said he's going to keep it under 30 minutes. It's Mr. Jimmy Richardson. And I see one of my favorite people in Paterson, a descendant, Dale Skip Van Rensselaer. Thank you, Dale. Thanks for not wearing any cowboy paraphernalia this morning. Thank you. I think I saw his wife Cena. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and happy Juneteenth Day. A lot of the history I wanted to talk about, the mayor already covered, but I'm going to cover it from a different point of view. And I'm going to tell you a story that you probably never have heard of. And it has to do with the Underground Railroad, and it has to do with slavery.
Thank you, Mayor.
In 1848, a young man named Harry Jackson, who was a slave here in Paterson on North 8th Street. He was a slave belonging to Cornelius Hopper. And the Hopper family has a long-standing tradition in the city of Paterson. And I can tell you about that at another time. But in 1848, Harry Jackson slipped the chains of bondage, and he runs away. And where he runs to is he runs up Cannonball Road. Cannonball Road, if you didn't know, is Haledon Avenue. It was called Cannonball Road because that is the road that was a secret road that used to bring cannonballs and all kind of munitions down from the mines in northern New Jersey. So he escapes up Cannonball Road, and he gets into the Ramapo Mountains, and he is protected, and moved along by a group of people called Jackson Whites. The Jackson Whites are actually Ramapo Indians who are part of the Hackensack Indians, who are part of about 3 different Indian tribes, but in North Jersey, in the Ramapo Mountains. But why they're called Jackson Whites has to do with three different groups. The Ramapo Indians, the Hessians, the deserted Hessians from the Revolutionary War, and free black people who were all living in the Ramapo Mountains. So after they were protected and they were moved along, Harry Jackson would travel along to Strasburg, New York, which is about 7 miles from Nigger Road, Nigger River, and Nigger Pond. So that you know what I'm talking about, Nigger River is actually the Ramapo, one of the 5 rivers that feed the Passaic River. And it's called River Pond because there was a group of African Americans, or I should say black people, a community that lived legally on a property belonging to a gentleman who was a resident of Schlossburg, New York.
Yeah.
Harry Jackson leaves.
Okay.
He gets there, he leaves, and he goes further. As he goes further, he gets a job working as a stevedore on the Hudson River. And I won't tell you about his whole history, but I'll say this. Harry Jackson, again, he runs away in 1848, and he dies at the age of 104 in Bristol, Connecticut. Why Harry Jackson is so important as a slave, an escaped slave, he is the only one that I have been able to record and track, and I've been doing this for literally a decade, record and track by name from the year he died, from the year he escaped to the day he died. And he actually died with a will that had to go to probate court because he had no ancestors, he had no family. So why he is significant, he's the only slave in the city, from the city of Paterson that we can trace. Now getting to the to Juneteenth, the mayor covered it, but I'm going to cover it a little bit more, a little deeper. Part of this, he mentioned it right. The mayor said it correctly. There's a succession of incidents that happen that keep layering the evolution of Juneteenth, and it starts with Antietam, one of the last big battles that was fought in the Civil War. And what happens at Antietam? Matter of fact, there are a number of people from Civil War veterans from Paterson who fought at Antietam, and we're talking about Captain Hugh Irish in particular. So that's Antietam. So on September 22nd, 1862, President Lincoln establishes the preliminary emancipation, and the preliminary emancipation actually sets up the 1863 emancipation, which would come into effect January 1st of 1863. And all through that period, we were free. but it would take General Gordon Grant, and I have a copy here. He gets a transmission that says that all slaves as of June 19th are free. And that is a copy of the actual letter. I wish I could have wrote the letter. That's a copy of the letter that says all 250,000 slaves in Texas, specifically Galveston, are free. Ladies and gentlemen, I am proud to be part of the African American community and to be celebrating our Independence Day. As part of this independence, and I gotta tell you this, which you already know, all over the world, but especially in the United States, there have been 5 national bell rings. The first one being when Abraham Lincoln was assassinated. The second one being when Lee surrendered to Grant at Appomattox. The third being when John F. Kennedy was assassinated. The fourth being when Martin Luther King's birthday becomes a national holiday, and then 1619 celebrating the arrival of the first Africans. But ladies and gentlemen, I have a bell here, and this is just a temporary bell. The permanent bell is on the way. We are going to have a permanent freedom bell here, and what will make that significant, it is the only freedom bell on an underground railroad site in the state of New Jersey. That's important. So, my last thing, and I don't know where we're going with the program after this, before we all leave, I want everybody to strike the bell in symbolizing our freedom. Now, I'm sure Edgar Allan Poe did not know that he was for who the bell tolled was for us. But we are going to ring that bell today. So please, and I also have a few copies of Gordon Granger's, General Gordon Granger's letter. I will give them out as far as I can. And I thank you for your time and your patience, because I know I'm long-winded. That's because the mayor said a half an hour, but he doesn't realize that is really broken down into tenths. He really meant 3 minutes. But thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. Enjoy your day. Enjoy the other programs that are going on today. This is your heritage. This is our 4th of July, our Independence. I shouldn't even equate them the same. This is our Independence Day. At another time, I'm going to tell you about the 4th of July that happened here in Paterson with the African American community. This is a phenomenal story also. Long story, long day. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you.
Come on, let's give him a better round of applause. Come on. That was very insightful. And I like to poke fun. He's loquacious. I'm loquacious too. We cut from the same cloth. This time, I'd like to hear from one of the longest-serving council people in the city of Paterson. That's my friend from the 3rd Ward, Bill McCoy.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Mayor. You want to mic me up? Wow. Who would have thought, right? Jimmy Richardson micing up Bill McCoy. Wow, that's important. That's important. Good morning, family. Good morning. It's a great day to be here today to celebrate this marvelous achievement. I look at the different flags, the African American flag, well, the Pan-African flag, which Marcus Garvey designed. As you know, Marcus Garvey and I share the same birthday, August 17th. I'm 56 and he's a little bit earlier than that. But it's symbolic today that we stand here with the Juneteenth flag as well, representing that liberation. But more importantly, I'd like to bring you to my good friend, Bob Marley, that talks about emancipating ourselves. Let me take off my mask so you can see my mouth, from mental slavery, which I think is one of the most cruelest things that we can have. That we don't understand that we are in fact one people coming from one place, united, as Brother Smallwood said, from all across the world to be one people dedicated today. So we celebrate this event, 1865, not knowing that your freedom had already come, and many of us still are being denied our freedom. We see the legislative process, right? Everybody could come together to celebrate a holiday, but you can't give me my voting rights across the board. That's significant. We ought to know that. Let us not just be placated by the low-hanging fruit, but we want to get real and material freedom. I saw the quote from Malcolm X came across my Facebook today, and I think it's significant. Let us not be satisfied. Onward, upward, forever.
Thank you, Councilman. Also been joined from the Paterson Board of Education, Commissioner Corey Teague. Thank you for joining us, Commissioner. At this time, I want to call forward our Assemblyman. And yesterday was a historic signing at Historic Calvary Baptist Church. He is the primary sponsor of the Fair Chance Housing Act, which bans the box. Originally, could not ask for employment as far as your criminal history is concerned, and now the same can be said with housing. Ladies and gentlemen, our very own Assemblyman Benji E. Wimberly.
Good morning. As we get ready to prepare for the march, as you know, I was whispering in Adela's ear, I am punctual on time. Our lineup is 9 o'clock, so I don't know how many more speakers you got, but these young people right here are leading the march. The march is about young people. Juneteenth, as we celebrate, Councilman McCoy, you said it so well, we're happy about this, but we have a long way to go. You know, George Floyd was killed last year on May 25th. There were a series of bills that were presented, everywhere from qualified immunity to chokehold, no-knock entry, and all of these bills have yet to be signed yet. So we can't ease up on there. And then, as you know, throughout 33 states, over 400 voter suppression bills have been put in place. And then there's other things that are being put in place, like Texas putting a bill out now that you don't even need a license or anything for a gun. It's almost like them dropping crack and heroin off in our neighborhoods here, which they do anyway. So let's, like he said, let's not get comfortable where we are. Let's celebrate for our ancestors today. I understand this is a great day to celebrate, but we have a long, long way to go. Right. So don't get happy. I love the governor. I voted for Biden, all that stuff, but don't let them get comfortable. I like this guy right here, but don't let him get comfortable.
That's right.
It's about us. It's about employment opportunities. It's about, you know, the disparity in healthcare, the disparity in job opportunities, increasing the diversity of our police force here in the city of Paterson,
That's
in
right.
the county, and in the state.
That's right.
Because if we look like us, you know what? We may treat us a different way when
That's
it comes
right.
to policing. So it's no offense to anybody else, but let's look out for us.
That's
Let's
right.
diversify throughout the state, throughout the nation, and throughout our city. Thank you, and God bless.
Right.
Thanks, Coach, and I can never get comfortable, trust me. I think it's only fitting that our final speaker will be a descendant of the Van Rensselaer family, one of the original conductors of the Underground Railroad here in the city of Paterson. Please join me in welcoming Commissioner Ronald Van Rensselaer, our friend from Passaic, please.
Good morning, everyone. I'd like to invite my first cousin up, Skip, who is also a direct descendant of William Van Rensselaer. Skip, if you'll join me. Thank you. On behalf of the Huntoon Van Rensselaer Underground Railroad Foundation and our founder and president, Dolores Van Rensselaer, I extend my hand in fellowship to join with you in celebrating Freedom Day, commemorating the end of slavery in the United States. Our dedicated and honorable board members, Eric Lenander, Irma Gorham, and Stephen Rose, join with me in celebrating this historic occasion. Our president, Dolores Van Rensselaer, left this message for all of us. It is the soul's character God will judge each of us by. On this profoundly historic day, 156 years ago, the people of Texas were informed, and I quote, in accordance with a proclamation from the Chief Executive of the United States, all slaves are free. This involves an absolute equality of personal rights and rights of property between former master and slaves, and the connection heretofore existing between them becomes that between employer and hired labor. The freedmen are advised to remain quietly at their homes for wages. They will not be supported in idleness, either there or elsewhere. A part of this that was not emphasized nearly enough is his directive that the relationship between slaves and former masters was to become one between employer and hired labor. Freed slaves were to be paid for their work. The hopes and dreams of the generations of enslaved African Americans had been proclaimed. We can only imagine their joy. As such, we can only imagine the hopes and dreams, the fears, the sacrifices, the toil, the danger of runaway slaves who passed through this very hallowed Underground Railroad site here in Paterson, New Jersey, who harbored in the basement below where we stand this morning. They waited patiently for the flickering lanterns on Garrett Mountain to signal, keep running, your freedom is near. Our struggles for freedom are not won. Today we honor our ancestors, the very brave African men and women who gave the ultimate sacrifice in pursuit of our freedoms. We pray for their souls, we honor their sacrifices, and we commit ourselves to carrying the lanterns of hope for future generations. May the spirits of our ancestors guide us to a better place where freedom is neither hoped for nor imagined, but instead is as real as the rising sun. Thank you everyone for coming out, and happy Freedom Day.
Happy Freedom Day to you.
One more round of applause for Commissioner Van Rensselaer. We have two invitations, one from Jimmy Richardson to strike the bell, and the other invitation is to line up. Thank you, Assembly Wimberley. Let's enjoy the day. Happy Juneteenth. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'd like the young people to strike it first because they gotta go. So just come on around, strike the bell, keep going.
Hey, young people, oh.
Okay, I'll take office not responding.
Okay, I'm ready. Strike that bell. Oh, okay.
Yes.
Awesome. Strike that bell. I'm ready.
Oh, no, really?
Paterson NJ Good News on YouTube.
I need your
My man.
Ronald.
I'll see you over there.
Kwame T.
Brother Abdul.
Miss Grant. No. I gotta get a hug for that. Miss Bradley, I gotta get a hug. Right. I'll send it right to you. At Yahoo, right?
Well, matter of fact, take a picture of the brother here.
That's how you ring the bell.
That's it.
Bell of freedom.
Yo, get this shirt off. Get this shirt. This is important. This is important.
Freedom.
That's the only part.
How you doing, Corey T?
All right, doing good.
All right, how you feel about this event today?
It's good, man. It's commemorating a continuation of what we have to do. We got to make sure we understand that this is in no ways the end of our struggle. This is just causing us and the future generations to understand that the struggle continues and hopefully bring more awareness of the struggle so that we can continue to fight together, man, as a family. That's one of our biggest problems, is coming together.
Amen.
So hopefully today we finally get the message that we have to connect come together and be one in this fight.
Amen.
Praise the Lord.
How you doing, Bishop Green?
How you doing?
All right. Now, how you enjoyed this event today?
I really enjoyed myself today.
Okay.
All the information.
Okay. How can the people find you on Facebook?
Pastor Green.
Pastor Dolores Green.
Pastor Dolores Green or Dolores Green.
Okay. How you doing? All right. Introduce yourself, Pastor Gilbert, right?
Yeah, Pastor Brenton Gilbert, Dean Fellowship Center. I really enjoyed it. It was very knowledgeable, very teardropper. It was a teardropper to see that we had slaves. Women left.
Awesome.
Yes, thank you.
Okay. How you doing? How you enjoy yourself today?
It was a great event.
Okay.
I'm so glad I came. I'm so glad you invited me. I really enjoyed it. It's my first year coming.
God bless you.
All right.
Well, you can introduce yourself?
I'm Reverend William Henry Everlasting Life Ministry in Paterson. Another Chance Mentor Project. I mentor ex-offenders.
Okay, how can people, you got a website or anything?
Yes, my website is www.azariah, AZARIAH1.org.
God bless you, man.
Sir.
All right, well, how you enjoy yourself today?
It was beautiful. It was beautiful. I learned some things that I did not know, especially when it came down to that street held an ass. You understand? I did not know that. But you know Paterson got some royalties in it.
Yeah.
You understand? This is where Martin Luther King went. And he marched through here. So I thank God for the rich heritage we do have in Paterson, New Jersey. You understand? It's a beautiful thing that Paterson, New Jersey do have rich inheritance.
That's right.
You understand? And it's a beautiful thing that we could come out every year and throw this right here. You know what I mean? We could have been doing something other, but we chose to come out here and represent the black community. You know, and our African